welcome to Still Buffering, a sister's guide to teens through the ages. I am Rileigh Smurl.
I'm Sydney McElroy.
And I'm Taylor Smurl.
Well, sisters, welcome to another week here on this, in the podcast universe, in the world of internet.
Did we transport?
We did
it.
We are inside the podcasting.
Inside it.
Once again, it's nice here. Cozy.
What does it look like here?
I don't know, Rileigh. Why don't you describe it?
Just a gentle white cocoon of words, of calming sounds and opinions.
Little sound waves just floating by you.
Yeah.
An occasional teen slang that I may or may not use correctly.
And on this show, the eggplant emoji is just like flying around all over the place.
Oh no.
Which is
we were just discussing this, but like I just updated my phone because I don't know technology, and I was perplexed and mystified by the floating man. Like, what? There's a man in a business suit and he's floating, and my first thought is, oh, it's a gentleman from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but I'm not right. It's apparently something else, which you guys did the research for me there.
Yeah, I had to research this because I did not know what this was all about.
I was just terrified.
And I guess the levitating businessman, which if you've seen on your phone, he's like a little guy in a suit with a hat
and sunglasses.
Levitate. There's a little shadow underneath him to show like floating above the ground. And I guess he is an exclamation mark in the style of the Rude Boy logo found on records by the Specials, according to Emojipedia. His name is Walt Jabsco.
Walt Jabsco.
So
I would not proclaim to be a ska aficionado, but I feel like I know enough that I feel like I ought to have recognized this. This just seems very out of left field. Like, of all the like very benign emojis, like, but this guy, he's got a name. Do they all have names?
Hey,
Does
Apple,
the creepy clown?
What are you doing?
Like,
Apple, how do you make your decisions?
Who gets names and who doesn't?
Well, and what does it mean if you send someone a Walt Jabsco? I mean, because I obviously don't know the danger of sending people random vegetables on vegetable emojis.
I think it means pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. I think that's what it means. Like if somebody's not answering your phone call, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
You just send people a line of Walt Jabsco.
Yep. This is an emergency. A cool one.
Oh, that's great. So that's how I can use that now.
There you go. If somebody won't answer you, you got to let them know that it's an emergency just with one emoji. Boom.
Well, and I guess there's also, you mentioned the creepy clown, which I have not updated my phone, so I can't even see. But when you tried to send it to me, it showed up as a question mark in a box.
And Sydney thought the question mark was the new emoji.
Which I was thinking, like, because Taylor was like, can you believe this one? And I was like, well, I mean, it's an interrogative indicator there, Tay. I don't know what you want.
I mean, like I don't. Of all the new emojis to add, we did not need a terrifying clown face
or a Walt Jabsco.
I mean, the jury's still out on that. I feel like I'll find uses for that guy. I will make myself find use. I'm gonna only use that as an exclamation point. Like, I'm already like I use too many exclamation points when texting. I'm just gonna replace them all with that guy.
I found an extra burrito, Walt Jabsco.
You know what else? You could use it for.
What?
You could send someone a text that says, "I Walt to Jabsco to prom with you."
The smoothest transition in the world.
Rileigh, if anybody ever says I Walt to Jabsco to prom with you, you have to go. No matter who they are, you have to go.
I only will go with someone if they ask me that way.
I can't imagine that I'll be ever asked to prom, so I can't make that promise.
I mean, if somebody says I Walt Jabs go marry you, I will say yes. So
Oh, there you
But
go.
I don't know if that has the
there you
same.
go.
Does it have the same pun? Jabs go marry you or Jabs go to prom with you?
Jebs, go to marriage place.
Go to marriage land with you.
I Walt to Jabs go to wedded bliss with you.
It's all either way. Secret code to win a Smurl girl.
Walt Jabs.
Walt Jabs go. Justin's a real winner. He got me without knowing the code.
Man.
He overrode it. He hacked me.
If anyone sends me a Walt Jabs go emoji, I'll know they're professing their love to me.
It also makes me wonder. I now know that when I see those boxes with question marks in them, that's actually an emoji that I can't see.
Sydney
And
was just thinking it was just a question mark.
I have just figured that out.
Yes, I didn't know that. Well, just in this moment, because I've seen that a lot on Twitter recently, which I guess is because everybody's phone's updated and mine didn't. And I kept thinking, like, what is with all the... Why is everybody, like, constantly, like, looking up in the air with their hands up, going, like, I don't know! Like, all these question marks, and they're putting Walt Jabs goes or something afterwards, and I can't see them.
Terrifying clown faces, updated champagne bottles, burritos. There's a burrito at a taco now.
Oh, I wonder if it's a burrito.
It's
What
always
is?
a burrito.
I don't know.
The emoji that everyone's adding.
Any of the question marks that I've seen that I didn't know were emojis.
Maybe one of them is a burrito.
We are going to talk about prom.
And you're saying my transition was bad.
Yeah.
How was that
well,
transition?
You already transitioned, and so we were like within the. Anyway, it doesn't
We
matter.
were breaking free of our cocoon,
prom.
spreading our wings.
It's prom season. The prom kids are out flocking among the streets.
They're promenading about. They're promenading. Promenading.
I was telling Rileigh we went to the Science March here in Huntington yesterday, and the Science March was at the same time as two of the biggest high schools here.
the only two high schools in our entire county, for some reason, had their prom on the same night. But,
Yes,
okay.
and the Science March was going on, and I think there
And
was
a
a concert
concert.
too. So it was pretty crazy for Huntington.
Our one downtown area was overflooded with prom teens and concert goers and scientists.
But the first of all, the march met in front of this place called Heritage Station, which is like an old train station. It's not a train station now, but used to be. And there's a train in front of it, and there were prom kids trying to climb up on the train to take pictures of themselves in their prom wear on the train. And I was watching this family try to hoist a girl in like really high heels and a very, very huge ball gown skirt up onto the train to take pictures. And she kept getting stuck because she just couldn't, like with the skirt and the heels, she just couldn't manipulate the train ladder. And I was just standing there holding my science sign watching this. Like, I don't know, should I offer to... I mean, they look like I'm not very strong. They look like they got enough people. This is like I guess this is kind of a physics issue that they're up against here. Maybe we've got some people over here to help out.
I think
a simple machine.
She's protesting science with her insistence on getting on that train engine. You did the right thing by ignoring her.
It was just, I wanted to say, just take your shoes off or something.
Why is that the prom picture you want? Like, look, I'm on a train. That is not elegant. Like, nothing against people that work on trains. You can be elegant as you want, but it's a very strange goal.
At least she was going up on the engine and not like hiding in the boxcar with like a bindle over her shoulder. Like, I decided to skip prom and I'm hitting the road. I'm hitting the rails.
That's what I did.
Is that what you did?
I didn't go to prom. I took pictures on the train of me holding my little sack.
And you hit the rails.
And I hit the rails
to go see the country.
of the train that doesn't move.
Yeah, that train doesn't go anywhere.
It's just-
it should be
it's a
noted.
place.
It's just for show.
Yeah.
It's just
a show train. It's a prom train.
It's a display train only. It's just for prom pictures. And then some of the prom kids were making fun of us.
Right.
What?
Yeah, they were pointing at us science marchers.
What were they saying? What were their good burns?
There were none. They were pointing and laughing. Literally, that was it.
Sick burn, guys.
We hate medicine and machines that work and the laws of physics. Lame. Gravity's lame.
They're making fun of science while they're on their iPhones. How ironic.
Because iPhones are science.
On my science project sign, I had a picture of an iPhone.
Yeah, Sydney did make a giant science project for her sign to carry.
I did. I used one of those trifold boards, and I turned it into...
yes!
I know, and it said, why March for Science, with a big question mark, and then I put all the reasons. I was very proud of it.
And she carried around her little research paper that she had written.
If I could have found an old blue ribbon from one of my science fairs, I would have worn it.
Of course.
You know, I feel like being made fun of by a bunch of prom kids is probably like an achievement in the science march. Like, I think that was like, that qualified your science march.
I was okay with it because I guarantee from my past prom experiences that I had more fun marching for science than they had at prom. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and lay down that.
I agree with that.
Because this is a crazy thing. When I think back about dances in general, I don't ever remember being at prom and thinking, this is so much fun.
Just standing there looking back like, wow, what a
No.
fun time I'm having.
No, I remember so like the first part of prom is having a date. And you know that like that's this whole thing where like when you start school in the fall, you're already thinking about like not everybody, this isn't universal, but a lot of people are thinking about like homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my gosh, I got to find a date. And then like you come back from Christmas break and you're right back into like prom.
That's
and, like,
why my favorite 2 parts of the year are the week after homecoming and the week after prom. Because it's like right after prom, it's the end of the year. And right after homecoming, it's Christmas. So you just get a few months where no one is talking about school dances.
And it's hard because even if you don't really like school dances, which in retrospect, I guess I didn't. I didn't. But it's still, I felt like there's a lot of pressure to care about it and thus to find someone to go with, which for me was very stressful.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you all were in high school, were the promposals, as they are called, as extreme as they are today? Or is it just someone saying, hey, you want to go to prom with me?
Promposal?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't ever remember that being a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I very much, as we've talked about before, I had a boyfriend most of my teenage years. I had various boyfriends.
Many boys.
And so it was just one of those assumed, like, I mean, we're going to go to prom, right? I mean, like, there was no ask.
Mm-hmm.
It was just kind of an assumed. But even the times that I didn't, and I just kind of like, I knew who I wanted to ask me, or I knew who I would be okay with going with.
Who I'd settle for.
I concocted a conversation that supplied fertile ground for the invitation.
Supplied fertile ground for the
I would love
invitation.
to go to prom. I've been thinking about it. Well, I don't know. It's so corny. It's so stupid. But I kind of want to go.
And then you just waited?
And then wait. Oh, well, do you want to go with me? Oh my gosh, that'd be so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
It works every time.
Did it work every time?
I went to 7 of 8 dances when I was in high school.
You had 8 dances in high school?
Well, if you consider a prom and a homecoming every year.
You
Yeah.
can't go to prom when you're a freshman or a sophomore.
You can if you go with a junior or a
Oh
senior.
my gosh. You're one of those.
I was one of those.
One of those that try to look for a date your freshman year.
I went to 4 homecomings and 3 proms.
See, I went to 3 dances all told.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. So the first one, Sid, it was when we were both in school together, right? You were a senior, I was a freshman.
Yep.
And you helped me wrangle a date to that homecoming.
I did. Was that homecoming or prom? Was it homecoming?
It was homecoming, because he didn't go to our school, so I couldn't have gone to prom.
That's true. Because
Yeah.
he was at college.
No. She legit like it was the boy she was dating at the time. It was the drummer, guitarist,
Cool.
somebody in his band.
Bass.
So it was a cool band dude.
Bass player? I don't
Maybe.
remember.
Bass player?
Something.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. And it was purely just like, hey, we're in school at the same time. We should go to this dance together. I think we went to dinner and we went to the dance for an hour and left.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then I went to maybe one my homecoming sophomore year with a guy I was kind of seeing at the time, but that was also super awkward because I'm not a dance girl and I'll never be a dance girl, and I accepted that. And then the only dance that I went to after that was my senior prom, and I have to be honest, it's one of the best memories of my entire existence because I went with one of my really good friends, and we'd both we had pretty decent scholarships to schools we wanted to go to. We'd done really well. We were on our way out, and we danced like idiots the whole time, and like cool kids were like taking pictures of us and making fun of us, and we were just like, we do not care. We are going places. We are out of here. Whatever. Like, that's the only dance I enjoyed. It was my senior prom, and it's because I was just there with a really good buddy. Totally nothing romantic, no pressure. Like, we were just on our way out.
Now, did he make a big deal of asking you to prom, or was it like a mutual, like, hey, we should go?
It was like, you know what? Like, let's have fun. Let's go to prom together. And yeah, it was absolutely like only because we knew we were free. We were making our way out. We'd survived. Like, I remember at some point looking over, and there was like these groups of girls like taking pictures, like, oh my God. And we were just like thumbs up to them, like, yeah, we're a bunch of jerks. No, you're a bunch of jerks. Deal with it.
Well, then what constitutes now, Rileigh, a promposal?
It's a lot of signs, like a lot of poster boards with quirky, corny, funny things written on them.
Like in the hallway? Like you walk up to somebody in the hallway and just like Love Actually them right there?
Yeah. It's basically Love Actually. There's a lot of it in the parking lot. A lot of like you get out of your car in the morning and someone's standing there and you're like, oh my gosh, I love going to prom with you. Oh.
They just stand there with a poster board that says, will you go to prom with me?
Well, most of the time it has something more inventive written on it, but you get a lot of the same things over and over again than just go to prom with me. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people bring food. It's like they bring Chick-fil-A. It's like, will you be my chick at prom? Seen that one a lot.
What? Uh-huh. Is it a bribe? You get some Chick-fil-A.
There's this one where this girl is a dancer and the guy made a sign for her that said, I don't know how to dance. Will you teach me at prom? So, like, it's a very legitimate question. I don't know how to dance. There is this one specific night where you teach me how to dance on this one night.
Why don't they just say those words, though?
Because that's not as Instagrammable.
Oh, that's why.
You have to be able to post a picture of it.
So it's not about telling your friends the story. It's about sharing it on social media.
Yeah. Huh. Like being able to take a picture of you and this guy that made a sign that says, like, let's taco about prom. And then they bring you some Taco Bell. Like being able to post that.
Wait. How many of these proposals are food-based? Because that would get me every time.
Most of them are.
Gosh, I wish more people in our age range would integrate food into their askings out. Like, I would go on so many more dates if people would opt for food as like an agreement.
That's all this is just a trick to get fast food into high school.
Yeah.
Can I have your burger to be my date at prom? Does that work?
No, that's not as clever.
I might be a falafel dancer, but I'd like to go to prom with you.
That's if you're offering someone falafel to go to prom with you. That one's like it's either a hit or a miss. Either they love falafel or they hate you for giving them falafel.
For my prom date pick, there can be no substitute, and then a sub
from Subway.
From Subway. Do these work?
I mean, it's probably better than most of the ones I've seen at my school.
Go to prom with me. Here's some Arby's.
I couldn't think of a pun. Just take the food.
Hot dog. Go to prom with me. Here's a hot dog.
We have the meats and a corsage because I'm supposed to get you that.
I like the one that's just you give someone an entire box of donuts and say, donut, say no to prom with me.
Oh, that's a good one.
Well,
but then you get an entire box of donuts.
Well, and then you get to be really popular because then you're that person walking around with donuts all day.
It's like, here, you want a donut? I got it for my prom date. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Am I nacho first choice for prom? Nachos.
Oh, that would be good. I like nachos.
The ones I do enjoy are the ones that are musical theater pun based. Uh-huh. So like the Hamilton ones that are like, you can't say no to this. Go to prom with me.
Were there a lot of those?
Not a lot of those at my school, but I've seen them on the internet.
Well, I don't remember that ever being a thing.
That's a very big
No.
thing now.
Is that
There's
every?
never
is
that much work.
No, is that across the board? Like, what if it's, let's say there's a couple that's dating, so it's kind of assumed. I mean, you know, it'd be weird for them not to go to a dance together. Do they? Or is that still expected?
I'd say it's like half and half. They still ask them in a huge way, even if they're already dating.
That is interesting because I mean, even I would never have thought of that.
Yeah. That's all it is now. It's just promposals that you can post on the gram.
Is it more acceptable now, or do you see it not that it should be acceptable or unacceptable, but does it happen more that invitations to prom can go either way? Like,
I think so.
That it's not so gendered.
I think more so it's still males asking females, but I've seen the occasional other way around. Not as often though.
Because I mean, when I went with friends to dances, like it was like a mutual, like it was as much me saying like, "Hey, this could be fun," as I didn't feel awkward about it. But if it were a romantic thing, I don't know that I could have done it.
Yeah, I think friends. There are a lot of friends where the girls ask the guys, but I think especially if someone's already in a relationship, it's like they expect the guy to do it for some reason. He can't just be like, "Hey, let's go to prom."
Do you also, I guess along those same lines, do you see a lot more couples being comfortable if they're non-hetero couples
Yeah, I think so.
coming to school dances in general?
I still think in the area that we live in, it's not as common, you know, but because you don't see it as often. But I definitely do. I mean, see it. I think it's more, you know, I won't want to say acceptable because I've never thought it's acceptable or unacceptable, but I think it's more like a thing that people are willing to.
People feel comfortable
Willing to be out in the open.
Yeah. That's a good thing because I don't ever really remember that happening. Yeah.
How much would you all say was the average price to spend on a prom dress in your day? Because I know you all maybe have not followed. I haven't either, but followed like the general rule, but in general, not just you all.
I mean, Taylor, I think you are along the same lines as me in that we never spent a lot of money on any of our dresses. I typically would go to like a big department store and just buy off the rack there or something.
I think sub $100 easily, like somewhere in like the $50 to $80 range was probably a dress for prom.
I think that the most expensive, I went to an actual dress store one time for one dance and spent, it was like $150 on a dress. It was also my least favorite that I ever wore, but that was the most I ever spent. Now I do remember that there were people my age who spent more money on dresses. Like there were people who would go to the dress shops. You know, I think every small town probably has like those handful of prom dress shops.
Yeah, we have like 3.
And they're always like the most expensive, like high markup on like these crazy, like it's for one time, it's for your dance, it's like homecoming or prom. And I think there were probably people spending $300 or $400 on dresses. I think that happened. And then they would get like the shoes dyed to match. I remember that was very popular.
Dyeing shoes to match?
They would have those like base, like shiny, satiny feeling shoes that you would buy the base color that was a beigey color, and then they would dye it to match exactly your dress.
See, I don't see that especially as much. The price of dresses, I think, universally, at least at my school, people I know, is spending $500 or $600 on a dress because
What?
yeah,
$500 or $600?
yeah,
What?
on the dress, and then you have to get the shoes, and you have to get your hair done and get your makeup done. And you have to get
It's like an
jewelry.
Xbox. No.
That's more than my wedding dress cost.
Yeah, and also sometimes girls buy just like straight up wedding dresses.
I like how we both quantified that. You were like, my wedding dress. I was like, an Xbox.
But the shoes, I've never seen someone dye shoes to match their dress exactly, just because like I don't know how cool of a look it is if you wear like a green dress, wear green shoes. It's a lot of like.
It used to be a very cool.
I was gonna say now it's like you get. I think everyone's shoes and accessories are either like gold, silver, beige, black, or white, and then your dress is something that goes with one of those.
Yeah,
because you got to get all the fancy jewelry and the accessories and the purse and the flowers. Oh my gosh, the flowers! Like, what? You carry those for pictures, and you have to carry them around the whole rest of the night. Like, what do you do with them?
Well, do people carry? Yeah, I was gonna say, do people get the bouquets and not the wrist
What?
corsage?
My one dance I went to with a date freshman year, I went with one of my really good friends, and he got me like the wrist corsage thing, and like
Yeah.
I still have that because it's super, I like it. But more people for prom, especially, carry the bouquets and have like giant bouquets made, which I don't understand because it's like now you just have to carry around these flowers all night.
No, I never had a bouquet. I always had just the wrist.
I've
That's
had one wrist
insane.
corsage.
These are like little practice weddings. What's going on?
And people will like drive 30 minutes away to like fancy houses and fancy places to get pictures taken, and we'll spend like 2 hours just taking pictures.
Now, we had and I never did it, but I know it happened. We had the traditional, like, everybody went to the park because there's a pretty fountain there.
Yeah.
And everybody would go before prom or homecoming to the fountain and take pictures. I didn't ever actually do that. We just took pictures in front of the picture tree.
At our house, yeah.
At our house, Mom had a tree designated the picture tree where she made us pose for every picture for everything
Right.
ever.
I think the purpose of going to the park is like, or anywhere, I guess, in any area, but it's like you don't just take pictures with your date. You take pictures with like all of your friends and all of your other friends and all those people you don't even know that well, but you take pictures together because it's prom and like everyone's there at the same time.
But why not just do that at the dance? Like that, we would take pictures with our friends, but I would do it at the dance. You could go have like the portrait made of you and your date if you wanted. But then you could also, like, I have pictures of me with some other girls that I hung out with at the time, all posing together in our dresses.
You don't have to pay
Yeah.
for them.
Well, yeah. I guess that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Hey, wow. So what are, like, before you go to prom? I mean, I remember it was always customary. You go out to like a nice dinner, but you go out to like a high school nice dinner. Like we went to like the
Yeah.
Outback Steakhouse or the what's the Italian place? The
Olive Garden.
The Olive
Garden.
Garden. Yeah, the Olive Garden.
That's,
Italian place.
I mean, you know what? I'd say generally the majority of people do that, like a high school nice dinner, like somewhere that's like, nice, and you don't go there all the time, but you go there with all your friends. It's like a fun thing to do. But there are also some people at my school and the other school in our area that will go to like the fanciest of fancy places where it's like they only have like 6 things on their menu and they all cost like $50, which I also don't get because it's
No.
prom.
We did that once. I think it was for prom. And this may be a homecoming story, but we'll say it's prom. I mean, it was one of the two. It was a guy I dated in high school, and we went with a bunch of friends, and we went to one of the more expensive restaurants in town, and we didn't have enough money. And
Sydney.
my date called my dad and asked him for money. My dad had to bring him money.
No.
Which, I mean, it's nice. Like, we were all close enough that he felt comfortable calling my dad, but
You guys done messed up.
yeah.
Did a bad job.
We ordered escargot. I remember that was the first time in my life.
Where in Huntington did you get escargot?
Actually, yeah.
It's where the 21 Club is now.
Oh.
It used to be the
I bet you can
Elephant
get
Walk.
escargot at the
Yeah.
21.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you probably could. But anyway,
Yeah.
it was way too expensive for us to be going to period. We didn't have enough
Ever.
money. Obviously, we didn't have enough money.
Can you imagine Dad getting in the car like, oh, these kids going to the fancy place getting them snails.
Freaking snails. They don't
Bring
even
them
know what
money.
they're doing.
Such as a Yeah.
What?
Wow. What? I thought a sneaky curse word just sneaked in. We can cut this out, but I thought you just said effing snails.
Oh no, I said frickin'.
Oh, did you? Did you?
Yeah.
Say like Jesus said, okay.
Taking it up a notch this week.
Yeah,
What about the actual dance part? As we're moving through the evening, we've done pictures, we've done the insanely fancy dinner. What about the dance?
like dancing.
Like when do you get there? How long do you stay there? What are you doing?
We would go a little bit after it started. I usually tried not to show up on time, but
Right.
I never wanted to stay very late, so I felt like it was easier to show up on the earlier end.
Mm-hmm.
So we would tend to show up like a half hour after it started, and it was always like My favorite moment was when we first got in there. We got pictures done because that was kind of what you do. You'd go in, and unless the line was really long, you'd go straight over and get your picture taken. Mm-hmm. If it was really long, you could go dance for a little bit and then come back. But you didn't want to dance too much because you didn't want to get sweaty.
Right.
And so my favorite moment was like get the picture done, and then I'd go in the gym and take my shoes off.
Yeah.
That was like the only thing that I really liked was like the moment where like, oh, thank God, I got to take my shoes off now.
Did they have a shoe check at your prom?
No,
What?
you just kind of dumped them in the corner next to your purse.
No, there's definitely I didn't go to prom, but at homecoming there was a table where you got a number written on your hand in Sharpie, and you turned in your shoes, and you came back at the end of the night and they give you your shoes based on your number.
God,
No.
I wish every bar in New York had that program. It would go so well.
But then at the same time, everybody's shoes were dyed to match their dress.
So only one person had one specific shade of
The
shoe.
mint green shoes. Here you go. You're horrible.
No, but then it was always like the standing around awkwardly with your date or your friends or whatever, and like watching people dance. And then inevitably a song would come on that you're like, okay, I don't hate this song. I guess we should probably dance. And I mean, I enjoy dancing, like as an adult, like
Do you?
I do. And it like in college. And then since then, like as an adult, I have gone to events where adults dance and I enjoy that. But I could never find a way to do it in high school that I didn't either feel like a total poser, like a complete tool, or I danced a way I felt comfortable and thought, everybody's going to look at me and go, what is happening over there? What
What's
is
that
that scene?
situation?
What is this situation?
I remember my first dance. It was my second dance I went to in high school, but it was the first one when I was with like a somewhat significant other, and like I could not dance. I to this day cannot dance. I will dance, and I love dancing, but at the time, my nexus of like cannot dance and also terrified of people judging me like came to the point where I could not dance in public. Like now just accept that I can't dance, but I'm gonna deal with it. But I just remember like it was a funny joke at first. Like I'm just gonna imitate various Mortal Kombat characters, and that was funny for like the first 20 minutes. But you can't keep that up for the whole dance. No, like different Sailor Moon poses, like when they transform and then they pose, like just do that. Like no, it only works for like 5 minutes, and it's funny, and then now it's weird. Then it's weird.
And now it's weird. And then like you look around and you're like, twerking looks easy enough.
Oh,
like,
no.
Everyone else seems to be doing it.
Never twerk. No.
I have twerked in my life. I'm not proud to admit it because I don't think I'm very good at it. But it always looks so easy, and you think, well, everybody else is twerking, like I'll just twerk, and then I'll
now if you do it at prom,
match.
you'll get kicked out.
Because now it's a twerk-free zone.
Now it's a twerk-free zone, where I want to retell this story because in case anyone has not heard this story, I need to tell everyone again. Last year's prom, which I did not go to because I was a sophomore, they banned twerking. It was like a war on twerking for this prom. And then to protest, all these kids were so upset about not being able to twerk that at one specific time, they all started twerking. And they all got kicked out. And then before they decided to go full on just twerk and get kicked out, they all just sat on the ground of the prom and just sat there.
I love that. It's beautiful. It's a sit-in. It's a twerk-in.
It was a twerk-in.
Oh no.
They formed a giant twerkle and protested.
Who says today's youth is complacent? They're not. They
We'll
care.
fight for what we care about, which
They're
apparently is
passionate.
twerking.
Oh.
But I will say,
If only it was global warming.
I have been to 2 school dances out of the, I guess, 4 I could have been to. But the 2 actual dances I've been to, it's like I got there like 30 or 45 minutes after it started, and as soon as I got there, I wanted to leave. Because it was just like everyone, at some point the cha-cha slide comes on, and at some point like, the Cupid shuffle comes on. And everyone does those, and it's like, oh, we can do that. Yeah, that's fun. And then that song's over, and it's like, well, this
Do you
is
still
terrible.
do the electric slide?
No.
No, that's finally over.
I think that's over.
Is it over? Okay.
But then it's like a slow song comes on, and if you're there at the date, it was like the one time I went there at the date, it was just we were really good friends, and we were like, no, that's not our scene. We're not gonna be doing that. But then it's like you go there without a date, and it's like, oh, well, you look around, everyone is dancing. And I'm just standing here in the middle of all of these couples dancing. This is fun.
I also don't understand why at high school dances, I feel like you're old enough. This has always bothered me when you talk about slow dancing. People still dance, or at least they did when I was in high school, in the like
The worst
arms
way
around
ever.
the neck,
Yeah.
and then the other person arms around the waist.
Yeah.
If you're talking like a boy-girl couple, usually like girl arms around the boy's neck,
Yeah.
boy arms around the girl's waist, and they would just kind of like rock back and forth in a circle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that still
Yeah.
slow dance? Okay.
Definitely.
Why?
No, it's the
Why?
worst
There's
way ever
a better
to dance.
way to slow
it's
dance.
like two zombies with their arms touching each other.
Like if you watch any movie where people dance, like they hold one hand and you put that arm on the shoulder and then the other arm on the hip, and like you can move more and you're not like smushed against the other person's chest without being able to see that. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, why can't teenagers slow dance?
Why can't we waltz? Why can't we foxtrot and tango?
You don't have to waltz. Just that arm position is much more conducive to dancing than this weird, like, I'm going to drape myself around you like a human necktie.
You know what I think? I think it makes smooching easier.
Oh.
I think it's for the smooching.
But so much more romantic to dance the other way.
But when you're a teen, is it romantic to dance or is it romantic to smooch?
Well, that's fair.
See,
That's
I
fair.
don't. I assume, like, at least for us, like, I remember in middle school when we did sock hops, where you had to like line up in like one straight line in the middle of the gym, and like you had to have space for another human between you and the other person's body. So you had to have like arms around neck, hands around waist, like enough space between you for someone else to fit. Like that was just how you were allowed to dance.
Yep, leave some space for the Lord.
Yeah, if you danced any other way, you were in trouble. You'd be kicked off the dance floor, kicked out
And
of
now
the
it's
sack
if you
house.
twerk, you get kicked out.
You know, the way to go, I did go a couple times to dances with all my theater friends, because I was dating somebody within the theater world, and so it was our big theater group all went together, and that's great because then you get people doing choreography.
Of
Because
course.
it's like, oh, we could probably do one of our show choir numbers to this. Let's do it. Or two, you get swing dancing. That's the other thing you get. You get enough theater kids together in a room. Swing dancing is gonna happen. And it's bad swing dancing because it's like, oh, I learned that one swing dance move in like this choir thing, or like when I was in this one show, and I really don't know how to swing dance, but I know this one move, and sooner or later they're gonna play that one swing song.
They're going to play a swing song at prom.
They probably did back in my day.
Oh, man, not
I
anymore.
bet the Cherry Poppin' Daddies were
I was
played
saying,
at
you
a prom.
get a Zoot Suit Riot or two.
Yeah, I would say Zoot Suit Riot came on, and then it's like, this is the theater kid moment to shine. Like, watch this. I'm
Now
gonna
it's
twirl
like-
this person around on the floor.
Now it's like the music is one long continuous song. There's never a break. It's just always music. And somehow they're all mixed together. And it's all pretty much the same song, except they're called different songs. You know what I mean? Like that kind of
Yeah.
music. It's all the same song. But really, I guess it's different songs.
I would associate that with clubs. Like, that's what happens when
Yeah.
you get
That's
older,
pretty
you go to a
much-
club, and it's just like
Yeah.
a grinding beat. And
That's pretty
Yeah.
much what it is.
yeah.
That's
And were your all's proms at your school?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Because now our homecomings are always at our school, but our proms, for some reason, are at the Civic Center.
That just, why? Like, there's so many people?
I know, I guess. But, I mean, there was like 300 people at the prom, but you would think there's less people at prom than homecoming because homecoming is the entire school and prom is 2 grades.
And the gym is big.
The gym is
I
big.
mean, the gym houses like sporting events with all the
Yeah.
fans. I think it can handle a
No,
dance.
it's a big gym. I don't know why we have
No, I don't get that.
Civic Center prom. I don't get it. But the tickets are also ridiculously expensive.
How
and
much?
$25 a piece. So you have to pay $50 if you're paying for 2 people.
I actually don't remember how much
Would you
our
like-
tickets were. I don't think that, I feel like they
Homecoming
were like
tickets were like
15
$10.
or 20, weren't they?
Yeah, $15.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So
I
it
mean,
sounds
I-
like it's become a much more expensive, bigger deal for you
Yeah.
guys.
And for the amount of time people spend in their dresses and at the dance, it seems like you're spending so much on nothing. Because, like, people will get in their dresses and their suits, and they'll go down to take pictures for, like, an hour, and they'll eat dinner for, like, an hour and a half. And then when you show up to the dance, you're there for literally, like, maybe an hour at the most. Like, you don't spend that long there because no one is having that much fun because everyone's kind of awkwardly dancing, and no one wants to actually dance because you don't want people to laugh at you. So then you leave and you go to after parties. But if you're at prom and you're a junior or senior, at this point, you've learned to bring a bag of clothes with you to the dance. So you change into, like, sweatpants after the dance when you go to parties. Sure. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
So you're spending $25, $50 if you're going with someone on tickets to a dance you're going to for, like, less than an hour, and $600 on a dress, and $100 on shoes, and $200 for someone to do your hair and makeup. And, like, you have all that done for literally 4 hours. And then you take it all off, and you take your makeup off, and you put on sweatpants and go to after parties for the majority of the night.
I don't understand. I have no problem with ditching the dance, but I mean, then let's spend a lot less on everything else.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if we were just lucky in that Mom felt really comfortable doing our hair and makeup, but
yeah,
like, I didn't pay anybody ever.
No,
to do
I actually
my hair
have never
or my
done
makeup.
that.
No.
Mom has always done my hair, and I've always done my own makeup.
The shoes were, like I said, they were. You could go that expensive route. Although I'll be honest, I hated heels, so I wore a lot of like little ballet flats.
And the heels, especially, I don't get spending money on because you take them off when you get to the dance.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, I kind of abandoned that pretty quickly. And then the jewelry, Claire's. Thank you. I rated Claire's every time. Yeah. So $5 for all of it for both of us.
I actually will say I've seen a lot of, in my homecoming and prom experience, girls wearing tennis shoes and flats with their dresses, which, like, I did my freshman year. I wore boots with my dress instead of heels. I had the heels, but they were very uncomfortable. I was not about to, trip and fall in front of everyone, which I would have done. But I like that people are more comfortable with that, especially with long dresses where you can't even see the shoes. What's the point in spending so much money on shoes you're going to take off and no one can see? Just be comfortable.
Yeah, and you can't dance in those.
Yeah.
Or at least I can't. I can't. Some people can, I can't.
Those weak ankles, we can't dance in anything that's not a flat shoe.
Dude, my senior prom, like, because the first two dances I went to, I definitely wore, like, a dress that was sparkly and heels and jewelry and makeup and everything. My senior prom, I got a dress from the Pyramid Collection, which was like a crazy, like, witchy, like, esoteric magazine that Mom got. And it was like a brocade, like, high-neck Chinese dress. I got it altered, so it was, like, short in the front, long in the back. And I wore knee-high combat boots. And
yes, you did.
Yeah. And it was just my, like, screw you, high school, I'm going to do what I want outfit. And I felt so good in that to this day. Like, I very early on proud moment of wearing, like, comfortable shoes and a dress that was, like, what I wanted to be. Didn't look, like, cool or on point or on style. That was a good moment.
You look like a video game character.
I did, and I think that's what I was aiming for. And, like, definitely people were making fun of me for it, and I was like, whatever, I look great.
No, you did look great.
Yeah.
I think it's funny when I think about the dances in general. I mean, when I went with somebody that I was, like, going out with or had a group of friends there, I mean, we probably had an okay time, but it was much more so before and after.
Yeah.
The dinner before was fun because we were dressed up and out at dinner, and the party after was fun because we would all go to somebody's house and sing Rent over and over again.
Right.
And, I mean, and like at the time it was like, and drink Dr. Pepper and Mountain Dew because it's crazy. I mean, like, that was really what we did. And we sang musicals and watched Kevin Smith movies, and that was our night. But the best prom I probably ever went to was a prom that my theater friends held, and we called it Alterna Prom. And we all got dressed up, like, not quite as fancy as you'd get for prom. Like, we wore dresses and stuff. I remember I didn't even wear shoes. Mom made me these, like, sort of shoes out of string. They were, like, wrapping string around my feet and ankles strategically. So you'd think it was like a gladiator sandal, except it wasn't actually a shoe. There was no shoe there. I remember that odd detail. Anyway, we went to one guy's house, and, like, his mom set up, like, a fancy dinner for us. Like she came in and like served us, and his little brother helped, and they served us like they were the waiters, and we all had dinner there. And then we went over to another person's house and we danced in her basement, and we had music and streamers, and and we danced and had prom, and then we all like got out of our prom clothes and watched movies and hung out and ate popcorn, and most fun prom I ever went to.
So that sounds a lot more fun than actual prom.
Yeah, our alternate prom, and it was because like I was totally comfortable the entire time. I never for a second felt like who's looking at me, who's judging me. I don't know, because it was just dressing up with your friends.
Yeah.
Well, and that's like that little bit of adult wisdom that maybe I'm not entitled to, but I'm going to impart nonetheless to you, Rileigh. The best nights of your life, you can't pay for, nor can you plan. They will happen. You'll know when you're in one, but they have nothing to do with the structure of like a prom night or a homecoming.
Yeah. And maybe I'm just not a dance person, because it just has never appealed to me. It's not even that like I didn't go because like I couldn't, like I wasn't able to or didn't have people to go with. I just didn't want to. Like I don't want to have to spend all the time and spend all the money, and then all you do is like be uncomfortable the whole night. It's like what's the point?
Well, I mean, I think the thing is like, and Rileigh, you had mentioned this before, like getting dressed up can be fun.
Yeah.
And getting dressed up can be fun, and especially when you're younger, and so it's sort of like, I don't want to say like you're pretending to be an adult.
Right.
But it kind of is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you're dressing up like a grown up. I mean, it's an extension of what we do when we're really little. We play dress up. And it feels nice and it feels fun to dress in whatever fancy style suits you. I'm not saying it has to be a sparkly dress, whatever suits you. And then go out and eat dinner with your friends and hang out. Like, we all know we enjoy that. And then having parties with our friends. So, like, you can have that outside of prom and homecoming.
I was going to say, Mom mentioned this to me, made a really good point. I have done that a lot before already doing theater. Like, I know you're not dressing up in fancy outfits and stuff, but you're putting on a ton of makeup. You're doing your costume and stuff. You're hanging out with all your friends. And then afterwards, you go out and eat dinner or go to a party at someone's house. And then you take it all off. And that's it.
Yeah. And it just doesn't have the label prom.
Yeah. And it's also with people you like a lot more than people you go to high school with.
Exactly. And you're not as uncomfortable again. And I mean, again, who needs that label? Because, the thing about labels.
They're for jars.
You're not a jar. You're not a jar, Rileigh.
But yeah, prom is prom. And if you enjoy it, good. If you don't, good.
I think the important thing is just not to put a lot of stress on it. I think there's a lot of like society and culture tells us that things like prom and homecoming are like these huge like sentinel events in our life. Like these signposts are supposed to look back on as like the moment when fill in the blank. And I mean, most of the time they're not. Most of the time they're either just like, okay, or yeah, that was a fun time. But that's pretty much all they are.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And that doesn't mean you can't enjoy them. But it does mean that they're not life or death. And you shouldn't, first of all, destroy your parents' credit.
Yeah.
Or your own, for that matter. And secondly, bank all of your like high school happiness and hopes and dreams on having a good time at this dance. Because if you don't, that's totally okay. There's lots of other opportunities.
I will say I've been to 2 school dances. And my best times in high school, I don't even think were at high school or had anything to do with people that go to high school. Just happened to be the same time I'm also enrolled in high school. So maybe you're a dance person and maybe you have funny dances. And if you did, then great. And maybe you're not a dance person. Maybe you have had more fun at, alternate prom.
Yeah. Make your own prom.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's one of the best things about your best nights. Are you never actually know when they're going to happen, and you're never expecting them. So they're out there in front of you. They are stacked up for you, but it's not going to be the night you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So happy prom season. If that's what you're into.
If you're into prom and you do go to prom, just be safe. Be smart.
Make good choices.
Yeah.
Don't spend $1 million.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, and all the other stuff, like don't drink and drive.
Yeah. But like don't spend
Use
too much
protection if you're going to engage in sexual activity.
Okay. Well, all right. This has been
Make
great.
sure that you get consent if you're
all
going
right.
to engage in sexual activity.
This is over. We've reached our end. This is the end.
Don't drive fast. Speed kills. Any other tips I can give you?
Any questions?
How can we make you feel more awkward?
I don't think you can.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
We did our job.
Yay! Well, thank you, sisters. As always, this has been fun. Thank you, listeners, for joining us. Thank you to the Maximum Fun Network for hosting our show. Thank you to everybody who's a member of our Facebook group. You can find us Still Buffering on Facebook. You can tweet at us at StillBuff. You can email us stillbuffering@maximumfun.org. We're going to be at the Columbus Podcast Festival.
The next episode you hear from us may be from that night.
Yes. So we will be there next Thursday. That's April 27th. In Columbus,
Ohio.
In Columbus, Ohio. Thank you. You can look up the details. Go check out the Columbus Podcast Festival, like online. Just like Google it.
Yeah, there's only one.
Yeah, and
we'll
check
be there.
it out. We'll be there, and Sawbones will be there,
and Court Appointed will be there.
Yeah.
You can meet us and say hi and listen to us make goofs.
Yeah. So check us out if you're in the area.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other great shows. Not just
Yeah.
those 3 shows. There's tons of other podcasts. So you can see all of them and enjoy Columbus.
Because it's great.
Which was in 2013 rated America's most intelligent city.
So there you go.
Whoa.
So there you go.
That random factoid for you.
I
about Columbus,
happen to know
Ohio.
this bit of trivia about Columbus right at this moment in time. So there you go. And thank you to the Novellas for our theme song, Baby Change Your Mind.
This has been Still Buffering, a sister's guide to teens through the ages. I am Rileigh Smurl.
I'm Sydney McElroy.
And I'm Taylor Smurl.
I am a teenager.
And I was too.
They're singing it.
I don't know what happened. Let's talk a musical theater. It came out. Swing dance.
So the 2017 Max Fun Drive was a huge success. Thank you so much to everyone who joined or upgraded during the drive and to all of our amazing monthly members. To celebrate, we're giving our $10 and higher monthly members the chance to buy additional enamel pins with the profits going to our friends at the Los Angeles Regional Food Bank. What? Yeah. The sale runs April 26th through May 3rd, and it's your last chance to get your hands on these sweet pins. $10 monthly members should receive a link and a code in their email on April 26th, so keep an eye on your inbox and get your denim jacket ready. For more information, visit MaximumFun.org/pins. And thank you again.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture. Artist owned.
Listener supported.